Hello brewers, hello YouTube, welcome back to the channel. I'm Sam, the head brewer from Flame and Glass Brewing Co., also known as the Brewer on Tour. We just got back from our Europe trip and really got inspired to brew a Belgian Triple. So it's a blonde Belgian ale. The standout for this beer is the yeast character. So it's a very yeast forward beer. Very excited, I had many triples over there. Clary and I went and stayed at St Bernardus, one of our bucket list breweries, if you want to go check that video out. Yeah, so today we're going to brew a Belgian Triple from scratch. So this will be a grain to glass 2-part series. We want to try and keep your attention. Flyers, welcome to Australia. So it's grain to glass the whole way through over 2 parts. So a couple of things about the brew. It's a yeast forward brew. We're going to use BE-256 as our yeast. It's a SAFALE yeast. Our hops are European nobles, so we're using Mandarina Bavaria, Czech Saaz. Grain bill's massive, 350 kilos for 1200 litres, and we're also going to add sugar. So in our case, we've got Bundaberg raw sugar. We use Joe White Pilsner, Joe White traditional ale malt, and Joe White wheat malt. Shout out to Joe White's, thanks for the sponsorship. Love it. Great grain, and it's made and malted here in Australia. Follow along, like and subscribe if you haven't already. For those of you who have subscribed, we appreciate that very much. Those of you who are new to the channel, go check out the other videos we've done. We do travel vlogs, brewing, tutorials, and brew days. So yeah, check out the channel. Hope you enjoy it. Let's go. Hello brewers, is this on? Test testicles. Today we're brewing an Abbey ale, brewers. Triple Blonde 8.8%. The grist is quite simple. It's a mixture between Pilsner and traditional ale, all Joe White, because that's who we choose. Now I'll show you a little trick, brewers, which took 8 years of professional brewing. Shout out to Coy Knives. 8 years of professional brewing to finally work it out. Make an incision in the bag, slightly pull the front, and then grab the back, and it'll never get caught. Ooh. Right, I'm gonna grab our feeler gauge and check our grain mill gap. We've got over 350 kilos in the grist today, so we're gonna add some rice hulls. That's nearly maxing our mash tun out. Slight adjustment on the grain mill. Each time I adjust the grain mill too, I'll run it. We'll go the right way this time. That's our 1.65 millimeter barley setting. And the reason we do that, it's a good combination in our grist. We get good amount of starches out of the grain, plus it still keeps the husk intact. So that helps with our filtration when we're lautering. Gets old. See where, I'll talk about it later, but it shows that we're in our style guidelines. That's why we choose the Brewfather software. Brewers, I think it's time I replace the bearings in my grain mill by the sound of action. Ready, brewers? We're going to begin to mash in. So we've got our rakes on, full speed, 50 hertz. Follow me up here, so our strike temp is 47 degrees Celsius. So we're going to introduce our cold water. We've got a combination of citric acid and calcium chloride. So we're shooting for mash pH of 5.2. I'll explain why in a bit. So we're going to confirm cold liquor in. Going to add our salts. Add some hot. We want to about 50 millimeters above our false bottom. And then we're going to add our rice hulls, 358 kilograms in the grist. So we've got a nearly a 50-50 split between Pilsner and traditional ale malt with a little bit of wheat. The grist isn't complicated, don't overthink it. We got this idea for the beer on our recent trip to St Bernardus. It was one of my bucket list breweries. I really enjoyed the, theirs was an 8% blonde, but we're going to make it 8.8. Getting a little bit greedy. Probably have to put it just in the can. So brewers, we're mashing in at 47 degrees Celsius. And the reason being is we're doing a ferulic acid rest. It's only for 15 minutes, but what it does in the final product, the yeast metabolize the ferulic acid into 4-VG, which is 4-vinyl glycol. That gives you the flavour of clove in the beer. Come and get this shot. Is this working? Testing. Testicles. Great. See how you can see how milky it is and starchy. So this is that ferulic acid rest. So a ferulic acid rest is performed between 47 and 50 degrees Celsius. 15 minutes is long enough. So the yeast is the major standout in an Abbey ale. So 8.8%, 26 to, well, we've got 26 IBU, but anywhere from 25 to 35 IBU. A finished gravity of around 1010 to 1015. Our software predicts that we're going to finish at 1011. So we're right in the range, and that's the beauty of the Brewfather software, is that you can put in a style of beer and then it'll put you in the range to that style. Helps a lot. Brewers, we're really maxing out our mash tun at the moment, so we're well above the rakes and we're still got to add another 150 kilos of malt yet. Total grist is 358 kilos. Which will give us about 1074 in the kettle. And then we've got to obviously add sugar because that's to style. We're sweating too. Making beer by hand. Sweating my contract. Brewing a new beer, brewers. I'm happy. Once we're all mashed in and we've hit strike temp, we'll talk about what a mash is and what we shoot for in a mash, ideal conditions in a mash, a little bit scientific, could be a little bit boring for some. You can skip through the boring bits and watch the brewing side if you want. Yeah, it's the first time we've brewed a triple blonde here. This is what I drank at St Bernardus. I had about 8 pints of it. So I was pretty hung. All right, brewers, look at me. I do love filming the YouTubes, but it turns a big, long brew day into an even longer brew day. So do us a favour and subscribe to the channel. So it makes it worth it. And we've noticed 58% of you watch but don't subscribe. It'd be nice to bring that number down. to around the 50-50 mark maybe. Anyway, give us a like, thumbs up and subscribe. And it'll help us grow the channel. And you can watch me sweat mashing in. All right, brewers, we're going to take our first pH sample. They're a little high because this mash is so large. We're going to have to add in some more citric acid to bring that pH down. We're sitting at 5.42 at the moment. $100 grams of citric. Come and check out how full this mash tun is.
You getting stuck today or what?
Yeah, good chance. Still 50 kilos to go. Because we're so far above the louder rakes, I just got to help it along with the mash paddle so we don't get any dough balls. And that's the mash tun about maxed out. Auger off. We'll check our pH again, and then it's Coca clock. So we'll do one more pH sample for that adjustment we performed. Turn that pump off. So we're shooting for 47.8. No, we weren't. We're shooting for 47, but we made 47.8, but that's fine. We're within our 45 and 50 degrees for our ferulic acid rest. We use Brewfather, and let me just show you something. Now come over, have a look here, see. So this is Belgian Triple Blonde. And then what we can do in our software is just type in the style, and as we're creating our recipe, it'll give you style guidelines. And you want to land somewhere in the center there with all our blue marks, and you'll get green on everyone. But if you go beyond, say with our IBU, if we went to 60, the IBU would go red, it'd change, it wouldn't be to style. So that's why this software is really good. Shout out to Brewfather. We're not sponsored by Brewfather, but let's be honest, we should be. We've used it for probably 5 years now. We're gonna have a 75-minute mash, but that doesn't include the time that it takes the Herms to get to the steps. So it's going to be a long mash. It's probably going to be a long day. It's a big beer, massive grist, so we've filled the mash tun to its capacity. So possibility we'll get a stuck mash. Hopefully that addition of rice hulls will help us out. I'm going to have my Coke and a smile and shut the fuck up now. All right, brewers, that's our 15-minute ferulic acid rest. Now we're going to turn on the Herms, which is a heat exchange recirculating mash system. So we're going to pull off the bottom of the mash tun, run it through the Herms coil, which is, if you have a look over here, brewers, is in the kettle. Bump the kettle up to 95 degrees so we get the maximum heat exchange as we run through the Herms coil. All right, follow me, brewers. We'll get this Herms coil running. I just smashed my head. I don't need any more brain injuries. I haven't got enough to lose. All right, so first things first, we're going to shut off the Verloff and then shut off the dump valve in the Herms. I'm going to open the Herms and then the Herms return, and you'll see we get movement in our wort cramp. Switch our pump on. Just going to bring those hertz down to about 16. And then we'll turn our rakes on, but we'll slow our rakes right down. Just slowly mixing the mash. Let's get the first runnings. See the wort change colour. Run it through our Herms coil till we reach 64 degrees Celsius. Then we're going to have a 45-minute rest at that temperature. And this will be our beta-amylase rest. Was that?
45-minute rest.
You do not get a 45-minute rest, Clary, because we're going to discuss mash. We're going to discuss mash enzymes, son. We're going to discuss. I can't speak. We're going to have a discussion, brewers, about mash enzymes and why it's so important to make your numbers in your mash. All right, brewers, that's 64 degrees Celsius. So now we've got a beta-amylase rest for 45 minutes. So we'll turn our software back on. We're going to hit continue on our software. And this is going to give us a 45-minute rest at 64 degrees Celsius. So we're going to shut our rakes off and our pump so it stops going through the Herms, the heat exchange recirculating mash system. 45-minute rest. And now, while it's quiet, we're going to explain beta and alpha amylase. Okay, brewers. Now we're going to explain what a mash is and how it works. Now, a mash is an enzymatic hydrolysis. So it uses enzymes to convert starch into fermentable sugars. So hydrolysis is the Greek word hydro, water. So we're mixing with water, and lysis is to break or unbond. So enzymatic hydrolysis is the conversion of starch into fermentable sugars. Now, brewers, because I am a visual learner, this is the way that enzymatic hydrolysis stuck in my thick head. Disclaimer, I am not a microbiologist arsehole, okay? So if we do have a microbiologist watch this episode, please feel free to school me in the comments. But I'll do my best to explain it. This is the way it's stuck in my thick brewer's head. This is the way to explain it. You have a substrate. This part of the lock is an enzyme. In this case, it is a beta-amylase, okay? And the top is the product. So that's what we produce. So we have a substrate, a catalyst, which is the beta-amylase in this case, and then a product. Substrate, catalyst, product. We have all different molecules moving around in the enzymatic hydrolysis, aka the mash, and they're all bumping into enzymes and nothing happens. Along comes our substrate, in this case is starch, and that fits perfectly into our beta-amylase, which is our catalyst, and then in milliseconds it goes bang, changes, and off goes our product. In this case, the beta-amylase, our product is maltose. So highly fermentable, short strain sugars. It's like a little bit of a science class, isn't it? If you're bored, fast forward. If you know more than me, school me in the comments. Let's all get involved in this. Right, so that's beta-amylase. So we've got our substrate is the same for beta-amylase and alpha-amylase. It's always the starch. So beta-amylase, why is it important in a mash to have certain temperatures, certain pHs? It's because the catalyst, in this case beta-amylase, are happy at certain temperatures. So beta-amylase are happy from 60 degrees to about 67 degrees, but a pH range from 5 to 5.3. So that's where these catalysts, which in this case is the beta-amylase, is happy. So you're going to get the most efficient mash you can at those temperatures and produce the most fermentable sugar you can. So short strain maltose sugars out of this. They're highly fermentable, highly efficient mash, low temp, low pH. Both beta-amylase, alpha-amylase and starch are all contained in our malted barley. So basically all we're doing is adding water, breaking or unbonding the starch, which is the enzymatic hydrolysis, and then the enzymes are a catalyst, so they'll change the starch into fermentable sugars. The main two enzymes in the mash, there are other enzymes, but let's keep it simple at the moment. The two main enzymes are beta-amylase and alpha-amylase. So same again, starch, alpha-amylase, catalyst, product. In this case, alpha-amylase, starch, milliseconds, sound like Greg Herron, milliseconds that it takes for a product to be produced. In this case, the product is maltodextrin. So unfermentable sugars, long chain sugars. These are unfermentable, and what that does is give your beer mouthfeel, body, so they'll remain in the finished product. And these are the sugars actually, I don't want to get off topic, but when you dry hop, the enzymes in the hops, these are the leftover sugars. Those enzymes in the hops will change the long strain sugars, maltodextrin, into fermentable sugars. So basically that's how a mash works. we're changing starch into fermentable sugars, and it's all done via an enzymatic hydrolysis. So, do you have any questions, Claire? Substrate is, Claire? Try again. The substrate is? That's not a key. Substrate molecule, starch. The catalyst is the alpha and beta amylase, and the product is? Sugar. Correct, sugar. Some fermentable, some unfermentable. So do we all understand, brewers? Like I said, if you're a microbiologist, feel free to school me in the comments below for everything that I missed, because I'm doing this off the top of my head. Oh, let's talk about the reasons why it's important to know this. Alpha-amylase and beta-amylase will denature at about above 75 degrees C. That's why we sparge at 77. So we denature the enzymes, we finish the conversion and into the kettle. It's important to know about enzymes, so you make your numbers each time. You never go above, so if you're shooting for a beta-amylase rest, you want to come up to that 64, 65 degrees Celsius. You don't want to go up to 70, or say if you went to 75, and you'll denature your enzymes. We have enzymes all through our body. They're happy at 36.5 degrees and a neutral pH of 7. There's enzymes everywhere. They're all happy at different temperatures and different pHs. Enzymes in hops, they're happy at 2 degrees to 6, they don't denature to 60 degrees Celsius. And their pH is 4.2 to 4.6. There's different enzymes everywhere, and they're just a natural catalyst, basically. Just one more thing to explain what a catalyst is, where this is a natural catalyst. If you've ever used bog, builder's bog, or Bondo, as the Americans call it, the catalyst is what makes the reaction happen. So it makes the Bondo go hard or the builder's bog go hard. What about an atomic bomb? What the fuck? I suppose it would have a catalyst that splits the atom. That's something to look into. I think we've gone too far. Anyway, things to remember. This is the way I remember it, because it's so easy. It's the best example, because I read about it in my book and I'm like, I sort of get it. And then I watched this on YouTube one time. Don't remember where or when, it was a long time ago. It shows that other molecules can bounce around and they don't fit in beta amylase or alpha amylase. So the other molecules aren't changed at all. It's a specific substrate and the product. There goes the product, gone. See, a lot of people understand temperatures and pHs, but they don't understand why and why it's so important. Especially pH is massively important. Like over water chemistry, over everything in a mash, the most important thing is your pH and your temperature. That's all you need to know.
So you have had people ask you why you put your salts and stuff in the mash?
Well, some people don't know to change. So if you're going in at neutral pH, but you still make your temperature and you're at 7 on the pH, the alpha and beta amylase are not happy. So they're at their most efficient at these temperature and pH values. So we might put a little, right here, see? We'll put a little chart. So there's a good one on good old Google's. We've got our 45-minute rest now, our beta-amylase rest. Now we're going to sanitize our whirlpool, and we'll also do a loop in the heat exchange. Let's go. We're going to get an 8-metre product line. So this loop, this sanitation loop, will run sanitizer through our product line, our heat exchange, and also it'll sanitize our whirlpool as well. So we're just going to use paracetic acid at 0.2% dilution. So that's no rinse sanitizer, basically. We get all our chemicals from Nowchem. Nowchem deliver Australia-wide, produced locally in Nowra, hence the name, Nowchem. Action, you're an idiot. All right, that was our beta amylase finished, 45 minutes. So now we've paused our software. We're gonna go over to back to the Herms control. Follow me, brewers. Put on the rakes, slow the hertz down on the rake. Warning, potential fraud. This will be fun. Hello? 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 He hung up, fuck with. So we've paused our software. It pauses automatically on the Brewfather, which is nice. We've turned our Herms back on, our rake's on 50% Hertz. So we're now going to shoot for 70 degrees C, and that is what, brewers? An alpha-amylase rest. Okay, so what we did with our pH, because this is a step mash, so we've ferulic acid rest, beta-amylase rest, and now the alpha-amylase rest at 70. So this is going to give us unfermentable sugars, some mouthfeel. So we shot for our pH in that mid-range of 5.3. So we just did another pH sample. And if you come over and look at our pH, we're sitting in that mid-range of 5.3. So our beta-amylase and our alpha-amylase are happy, all right? And this will give us the most efficient mash. We're just running up our mash temp now. So at 70 degrees, we'll have a 15-minute rest, and then we'll whirl off for 15 minutes, and then we'll send it to the kettle. So it's quite a long mash today. So do us a favor, hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, ring the bell, you know the score. Now what we're going to do is sanitize FV11. That's where we're going to send this beautiful Belgium ale today, to FV11. So brewing's a process, so we're going to film it again. Never skip the process, brewers. Let's go. Testicles, testicles, test. Righto, what we're doing here, 0.2% paracetic acid mix. We're going to perform a sanitizer loop in FV11. Got me U-Butte little cart pump that I just redid the bearings and the shaft seal in. Full service. $100 litres. So what we're going to do first is just open up, run the paracetic acid through the pump, clear any airlocks and also any contaminants that were in the product line. Remember, brewers, brewing is a process. Don't skip any steps. That's why we always put this in every video that we do. We're going to open our dump valve. I'm going to let that first couple of litres of paracetic acid coat the whole uni tank and send out any contaminants that were in. Obviously this has been completely broken down, circulation clean, and then reassembled. I'm going to run that first bit of paracetic acid out. Also going to open the racking arm. I'm going to let the paracetic acid come out of the racking arm. Hear how quiet my pump is, Clary. We'll open up our sample port, get some positive pressure in the tank, so we blow paracetic acid into the sample port. So we've got paracetic acid coming out, we've got positive pressure. Let that positive pressure out. Set up our loop. Clear any airlock. So open up both valves. And we can run our paracetic sanitizer loop. Shut off our sample port now. And then 15-20 minutes before we're going to knock out, we'll run our loop. But it's all prepped, ready to go. All right, so we're at 69.6 now, brewers. Bring it up to 70, and then we're going to have a 15-minute rest. That's our alpha-amylase rest. So that's going to get us our long strain sugars. Long chain, idiot. Long chain sugars, our multidextrins to give us mouthfeel. What are they? What's this, Claire? She's already forgotten. That's the substrate, catalyst product. We beat it into everyone. All right, 69.9. Wine me, dine me, 69 me. No? 70 degrees C. We're going to press continue on our software. Now we're going to shut off our pump off. And then we've got a 15-minute rest, and then we're going to whirl off for 15 minutes. So what we're going to do now is we're going to shut off our Herms now and dump the Herms. And then we're just going to whirl off is our next step. So I'll go shut the valves off and set up the whirl off, and we'll come back to that. Open our dump valve on our Herms, and now we've just opened up the whirl off port. And once we're ready, we'll whirl off for 15 minutes. All right, brewers, now we're going to prep our kettle additions on the salts. Everyone's salts are different, obviously, but we use In this particular brew, 200 grams of calcium chloride. And then a bit over 100 grams of gypsum. And then a little bit of magnesium as well. Now we're gonna organise our hops. So we're gonna use European Nobles. We're gonna use Mandarin of Bavaria and Czech Saaz for our hop additions. There's only bittering hop additions in this beer. Keeps it to style. All right, first addition, 1 kilo Mandarin of Bavaria at 60 minutes. 1 kilo exactly. Second addition, Czech Saaz, 1 kilo at 30 minutes. Remember brewers, 1 kilo exactly. So our first edition will give us 15 IBU, second edition will be 6 IBU, and the final edition of Mandarin of Bavaria, 1 kilo, 10 minutes. That's Saaz. Is going to be another 5 IBU, which puts us in the range for the style of beer. 26 IBU it. Right, final addition. So that'll give us 26 IBU. Once again, we can go back to our style guidelines here on the Brewfather, and we're all in the green, 2 style Belgian Triple, back to batches, 7 minutes to go on our Alpha-amylase rest. So most importantly, let's get our hops sealed back up as fresh as best. It's a constant heat sealer. We get these back in the cool room. Now, brewers, let's talk about our yeast. We're going to pitch and ditch, as we do, always here at Flame of Glass. Spoken about it in previous videos why we do that. We're going to use BE-256, which is a SAFALE product. It's called champagne yeast or strong ale, Abbey ale yeast. So it gives all those Belgium characters, high 86% attenuation. It's also high alcohol tolerance, which we're shooting for 8.8 with this beer. We'll go over on the tablet and have a look. You can just type in BE-256 into Google and we'll have a look at, say, the ester production, alcohol tolerance, but you can check that out on SAFALE website as well. You should have a data sheet. That's SAFALE BE-256, Saccharomyces cerevisiae, also known as Abbey ale yeast. So we've got total esters high, so total alcohol high, apparent attenuation 82 to 86%, sedimentation time fast, alcohol tolerance 9 to 11%, off flavours and phenolics 0, and then this will give you some of the characters. You can see the spike to alcohol because it's got high alcohol tolerance, body, warmth, sweetness, fruitiness, shows you all on the website. Also shows you your pitch rates and temperatures, very handy. BE-256, the Abbey ale yeast. We've pre-acidified our sparge water to the 5.3. Now we're going to preheat our kettle. Just with our hot liquor. Bring that kettle up to about 60 degrees Celsius minimum. That way we don't get that big shock when the wort's running in. Once we've done this and preheated our kettle, we're going to bring the temperature of the hot liquor back to 77 degrees C. So we're just going to start to introduce our cold water into our hot liquor tank. We're already pre-acidified, now we just need our temperature right, which is 77. Righto, we'll let that kettle drain and I'll go fix the temp on the hot liquor tank. So we're just going to begin our Verloff now. I'm going to slow those hertz back down a bit to 16 hertz. 16.5 hertz. So now we're just recirculating through the mash system, and that's our Verloff. We're going to clear our wort right out, any husk that transferred over from the Herms. If you have a look how full this mash tun is. Full as a boot. Full as a googie egg? Full as your boot. What is it? She's full as a bull's bum going uphill, brewers. Full as a goog. Full as a googie egg. Yeah, all right, we're going to Verloff for 15 minutes. Boom. 50 minutes, brewers. 50 seconds. Let's do this. Bang. Good to see we avoided a stuck mash. Look at this beautiful, clear wort. The Belgian Triple. The Abbey Ale. Abbey's Ale, that's what we should call it. So we don't crush our mash bed, we're going to slowly open our transfer valve. Turn the kettle on. Slowly close our verl off so we don't compact that mash bed. Keep it floating. Look at that. A few rice holes on top, that's not a great sign. All right, we're sending it, brewers. Now let's listen out for that kettle. And we're away, brewers. Kettle just started. Because you know, if you've watched previous episodes, we'd had a bit of a problem with the Siemens controller. I now own 3 Siemens controllers, including the one on the direct fire. So backup on backup. Righto, we're slow in. We've got the kettle set to 16 hertz, a bit below 15.8 hertz, and the reason being we're in a very precarious situation with our mash tun this full. We want to avoid a stuck mash. We haven't had one yet, but you never know. If you do want to know how to get out of a stuck mash when you get one, go back and have a look. We do a video on that. Insert here. Go have a look at that one. Then do us a favour and subscribe. We're transferring to the kettle. Everyone cross their nuts. We don't get a stuck mash. It's going to be a slow fly sparge. So we'll check our first runnings, brewers. Just got to unclog that. It's got to be at least 3 times that size. Didn't we get some sugars, brewers? .1030 so far. Error. Too much sugar. Let's go to Play-Doh and have a look. 1.1014. Gravity.
Yes, I'd say that.
Down the bottom, SG 20/20. Let me have a look. I'll change the sample to Play-Doh. 25.3 Play-Doh. We've pulled some sugars. Brewers. See how happy our alpha and beta amylase are? Look at the conversion we've got. To be honest, it has been about a fucking 4-hour mash. No, not really. But we're a 75-minute mash and those rests in between as well. So when we're raising the temp, long brew day, camera lady's already had it. Pools. I am going to start introducing hot liquor for the fly sparge. I want to keep a bit of weight on this grain bed, only because it's full as a goog. The mash tun, we're at max capacity. But didn't we pull some sugar? Put some music over this, you know? Good brew is a clean brew, sorry. Everything in me, eh? Not to get your feet.
I'll go home and you won't have a video.
Oh, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that. Listen, when you're right in it and part of the live action, this is what happens. Nothing's a problem, brewers. So brewers, you can see how big this grain bill is. Just want to try and keep about 25 to 50 millimeters of hot liquor above it, and we want to maintain that mash so it's floating within the wort. But she's a big grain bill. We were lucky enough not to get a stuck mash today, as this mash is quite quite long anyway, being a step mash. So we're just going to control our fly sparge now into the kettle. So we're fly sparging, which means we're loudering off our clear wort and adding hot liquor on the fly. So that's where it comes from. It's called a fly sparge. We're doing it on the fly. So we're loudering, sending our clear wort to the kettle, and I'm just controlling our hot liquor into the mash. Maintain that 25 to 50 millimeters above the mash bed. If I need to speed it up, we're doing it on the fly, I can. Happy Pappy? So far so good. No stuck mash, I was a bit worried about that. The prevention there was the rice hulls, Claire. You know what I'm saying, brewers? Rice hulls are your friend with a big, big grist grain bill. All right, brewers, last runnings. So we're 1,120 litres in the kettle. So we're going to check our last runnings, make sure we don't go below 1010. We're not going to, obviously, because of this big grain bill. So our last runnings could make a 4% beer. So our last runnings are 1039. Original gravity on the Earl Grey Sour is 1039, and that makes a 4% beer. So our final runnings on this brew potentially could make a 4% beer. That's how much extract we have created, brewers. Pretty impressive. So we killed our sparge now. If we're coming up to 1,200 litres, our pre-boil volume will be 1253, and we're shooting for 1071 prior to the raw sugar addition. All right, brewers, we're gonna top up the kettle to 1253, and then we're gonna grain out. When we were prepping before, I didn't mention well flock, 15-minute boil. Test testicles. All right, let's do this. You fuckhead. It's not as funny when you do it to me. I wouldn't do it. It's not that, I'm not that kind of guy. Look at that, full as a goog. Shows you how close we were to a stuck mash. That grain bed's so heavy it's compacted itself. But it's all about your brewing skills and ability, Claire, you know, not to get a stuck mash. There are going to be some very happy farm animals. E-I-E-I-O. Whew. 350 kilos all the way back to the source. That's brewing. Righto, brewers, we're now on the boil. Add our salts. That's our salt addition, first salt addition to the kettle. We're still cleaning our mash tun, but one thing you don't want to do, that's get behind your kettle so the kettle gets full attention to start with. The reason being it's quite unstable until your first hop addition. So we get these big breakouts of protein. You want to watch that kettle. So our first hop addition now is Mandarin of Bavaria, 1 kilo, 60 minutes. In she goes. Still watching our kettle, but we're doing our final clean on the mash tun as well. Make sure you get your mash tun nice and clean, otherwise it smells like Bigfoot stick the next day. If you don't get rid of all your grain, you'll have a lactobacillus fermentation, and it will smell like Bigfoot stick. Be clean, brewers, be clean. It's your only job. You're just a cleaner, glorified cleaner, a sweaty, glorified cleaner. Now we're doing our 15-minute checks. I'm going to check our pre-boil gravity and our pH. taking a sample from the kettle. First sample which we need to chill. And the reason we chill it is because our equipment is most accurate at 20 degrees Celsius. But we can just do a hot check anyway. See how we're going. So 10, 66, 67. We're hot at the moment though. We're still hot, 41. So that tells me at 45 degrees we're 5.23 on our pH. We can just check our gravity. At 45 degrees we're 1071, and that was our target pre-boil gravity because we're going to obviously add the sugar cane. So we're pretty close to target there. We're going to add the sugar now. So we're going to start with 15 kilos. Our final gravity is 1077. So let's go add our first bag of Bundy. I've also cleaned the Herms with the CIP. So the Herms is completely clean. We don't want this to stick to the bottom of the kettle. Our first 15 kilos. We get our trusty old mash paddle. We're just going to scrape the bottom of that kettle and stir it up. Want that sugar to dilute through the wort, not stick to the bottom of the kettle and caramelise. Because we're a direct fire kettle, there's a chance it could caramelise on the bottom, so we're just going to make sure it doesn't. You'll feel it if it does with your mash paddle. You can smell that caramel now. Beautiful, mate. So let that come back to the boil and then we'll do another check. I can already see that our pH is a bit high. 5.32 at 27 degrees. So we're going to be sitting around the 5.5. I want to be around 5.3 in the kettle. By the time we get to the uni tank, we should be 5.2. There goes that rapid boil now. That's from that sugar, if you want to have a look at it. And now we're driving off any DMS. You want a really good rolling boil to drive off any DMS. There's the capo. Nice rolling boil. You can see you can nearly stand a spoon up in that. So let that boil for 5 and then we'll do another sample. Definitely know we're going to have to adjust our pH, so I might whack about 50 grams of citric acid in. Yeah, we'll come back and have a look in a sec. Don't film me. Whenever I don't film, the goes fine. You know, nothing's a problem, brewers, you know me. All I see is solutions. We just had a circuit breaker kept tripping the main PLC, so the whole brewery would shut down, including the direct fire kettle. Nothing's a problem. Anyway, I chased it back to the Siemens controller that I spoke about earlier, remember? Anyway, replaced it, dried it out, back into brew day. Anyway, second 20-minute checks, we are 1074, 1075, and we are 5.18 on the pH, so the 5.2, pretty close. I won't bring it back up because we've got some hop additions to go, and that'll bump the pH back up to where we want to be. But I do need to add some more sugar because we're 1074.1 and we're shooting for 1078. So let's have some more sugar. All right. In we go. The sugar tits. Same again, keep it off the bottom of that direct fire kettle. If you're lucky enough to have a steam jacketed kettle, good on you. You won't need to do this. It's all right, we didn't film putting some hops in, so we've had typical brew day dramas. You know, this doesn't happen all the time. Usually when I don't film, I have the most simple, smooth brew days. As soon as I invite you other brewers in, la shit hit la fan.
That's why you should subscribe.
Yeah, that's why you should subscribe. We could give up. But then what would you watch every Wednesday, brewers, you know? Yeah, what do you like? Comment down the bottom. Do you like the travel vlogs? Because that's what I prefer. Or do you like brew day? Brew day where nothing goes wrong, I like them as well. Today, not so much. All I see is solutions, brewers. Nothing's a problem. We're back on track now anyway. It's how you get it in the fermenter. It's how you get it in the kettle. That's the brew day finished, according to the software. Yeah. Anyway, we've extended it 30 minutes brew day today after the 4-hour mash. Just got to look at it. You fucking dog. And off it goes. So I'm happy with our pH. I've reverted to the phone. We're about to have a 15-minute addition in 1 minute. In 1 minute and 29 seconds, we're going to add well flock. Kettle findings, brewers. Clear our beer out. Putting a positive charge onto our negative particles. Pulling them out of suspension. What's it made of? Pretty sure prawn, something to do with prawns or fish. Yeah, so well flock's actually made of seaweed based. It actually coagulates protein, helps clear wort. I didn't just read that on Google. Good. All right, 15 minutes. In goes the well flock. Been a long day, brewers. I'm losing it. Yeah, we got a 10-minute addition of Mandarina Bavaria in 4 minutes. Come up here. I've had enough of this brew day, to be honest with you. A couple of questions while we wait for this hop addition. How do you protect against dry hop creep in package? Simple. If the product doesn't go to package and is left on site for our tap house, we do not add alpha-acetolactate decarboxylase because our product's always cold and it cannot have a secondary fermentation. But if we know that the whole fermenter is going to be packaged, we add 2 grams per litre by weight of alpha-acetolactate decarboxylase, and that stops your dry hop creep. Dry hop creep consists of 2 things: secondary fermentation, it'll produce diacetyl, and it'll produce a little bit more alcohol. In our case, the alcohol is within the tolerance, so it's 0.015% of alcohol after the secondary fermentation in the can if it's not stored correctly. And then the alpha-acetolactate decarboxylase don't allow the formation of acetolactate, so therefore cannot be turned into diacetyl. So that's how we prevent dry hop creep in package. Here, I'll show you something. Fun facts with Sammy, fun facts. You don't use that, see?
She will.
So this is the alpha-acetolactate decarboxylase. You get it from Bintani, we do. The dose rate is 2 grams by weight per hectolitre. Quite expensive bottle, like that bottle is 150 bucks. Anyway, where were we? 10-minute hop addition. Brewers, in she goes. That was Mandarina Bavaria, 4 IBU, son.
10 minutes to go.
10-minute boil. Nah, we're on the home stretch. Nothing's a problem. All right, final checks. 10 minutes out. A lot of hop in suspension there. It's going to bring our pH back up to the brew desk. Probably got another 10. 1077, brewers. 1077.1078. 1077, we're going to have to dilute back, but that's fine. More beer for me. More beer for me. Oh, 1078, sorry. Original gravity, 1078. 1079. That's all right, dilute back. It's fine, let's add some hot liquor. It's good. More beer, more beer, more beer. I'm losing it. pH is looking good, 5.1 at 37. So we'll come up by the time that's at 20. Let's settle back down. 1080.8. Pacific Ale. So the reason I mentioned the alpha-acetolactate decarboxylase is because it's another enzyme, and today, while we've been brewing, we've been learning about enzymes. So yeah, that's another enzyme that can be used on brew day, used in the cold side. You can actually put it in after fermentation. All right, that's the end of brew. Let's kill it. We're gonna chill and send it to the whirlpool. Let's go. So what we're doing now, through the heat exchange back into the kettle, we're gonna lower the wort to below 95 degrees Celsius. Then send it to the whirlpool, 15-minute rest, knock out, clear it and go home, go to bed. And I'll stay and have a few thermins. It's been a long day, brewers, come on. Thermin's the hot water service that I lean on while I drink out in the beer garden. Check's complete. We will do a after knockout check, but that'll probably be in the next video. Yeah, 9 hour for a 6 hour brew. That's what you're dealing with. As I always say, nothing's a problem. All I see is solutions. All right, that's 95 degrees in our kettle. We'll shut off our cooling. Pump off. Cold water off. Valve shut. Valve shut for the whirlpool. Yeah, we're trying to pull temp out of it. Just got to equalise this temperature here in the heat exchange and get the most efficiency out of it. So we ended up our target gravity of 1078 and about 1350 litres. So it's good. Sending it. All right, brewers, that's it. We're knocking out. Kettle's clean, 15-minute rest on the whirlpool. So we precipitated out any of those solids that carried over from the kettle. Now we're knocking out to FV11, shooting for a strike temp of about 24. And then once we've dry pitched the yeast, oxygenate, and then we'll bring it down slowly to 20 and we'll ferment at 20, roughly 2 weeks. Down, chicken, down, 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 down. I haven't written the final pH yet, I don't have it. All right, brewers, thanks for watching. Pretty smooth brew day today. Don't film me. The mash was pretty long, obviously. So that's it for part one. Part two will be fermentation, kegging off right the way through to glass. And if we can it, we'll slip that in there too. So it's the first time we've brewed this beer, so we'll see how it goes throughout. You never know, the trade waste might end up with it. But we're pretty confident that we've stayed within the style guidelines and we'll make a good beer. Should be available on tap in a couple of weeks. Get it India, been to India, get that India. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, really helps us grow the channel. See you on the next vid. Hooroo.